If you're over 60, every bite you take, every snack, every sip, every piece of fruit you believe is healthy could be slowly damaging your heart without you even knowing it. You've likely spent your whole life being told that fruit is nature's candy, a guilt-free choice, something that keeps you young and full of life. But what if I told you that some of the most common fruits in your kitchen, yes, fruits, could silently raise your blood pressure, spike your blood sugar, interfere with your medications, and even trigger heart failure? As a heart doctor, I've seen this tragic pattern far too many times. Seniors who eat clean, avoid fast food, walk every day, and still end up in my office with heart rhythm issues, valve damage, or worse, all because of innocent looking fruits they've trusted their whole lives. In this video, I'm begging every senior watching to stop eating these 9 specific fruits, or at the very least, learn how to consume them safely. I'll break down why each one can become dangerous after 60, especially if you're on common medications or have conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes. This may be one of the most important health warnings you hear this year. Stay with me, because the first fruit on the list might be sitting in your kitchen right now. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Bananas. The sweet culprit that can silently wreck your heart if you're on blood pressure meds. You've likely heard it all your life. Bananas are healthy. They're natural, full of potassium, and great for your heart, right? But what if I told you that for seniors over 60, especially those on blood pressure medications, bananas could be quietly sabotaging your heart from the inside out? I'm not trying to scare you for no reason. I'm speaking as a heart doctor who's seen what happens when well-meaning habits clash with an aging body's reality. And the truth is, bananas can become dangerous when combined with certain medications, particularly a class called ACE inhibitors like lisinopril and potassium-sparing diuretics like spironolactone. These drugs are prescribed to help lower your blood pressure and support your heart, but they also increase potassium levels in your body. Bananas, especially ripe ones, are packed with potassium. One medium banana contains about 420 milligallons of potassium. That might sound like a good thing, and for a younger person it often is. But for a senior taking medications that already raise potassium in the bloodstream, that extra banana a day can tip the scale into dangerous territory. Too much potassium, a condition known as hyperkalemia, can cause irregular heartbeats, sudden fatigue, muscle weakness, or even cardiac arrest. Let me say that again. Your heart can literally stop beating if potassium builds up too high. And the worst part, you might feel fine until you're not. I remember a patient, let's call him Mr. James. He was 73, retired, enjoying his mornings with a daily banana, oatmeal, and coffee. He took his lisinopril faithfully for his high blood pressure. He thought he was eating clean and living smart. But over time, he started feeling dizzy. His heart would flutter, and he felt exhausted walking even a block. His lab tests revealed dangerously high potassium levels. His EKG showed signs of early arrhythmia. We caught it just in time. I asked him about his diet, and there it was. Bananas every morning, sometimes 2. He had no idea that his medicine and fruit were clashing silently inside his body. And that's exactly what makes this so terrifying for older adults. It feels like you're doing something right, when in reality, you're unknowingly setting a trap for your heart. Potassium isn't bad, but the senior heart isn't the same as a 40-year-old heart. After 60, your kidneys process potassium more slowly, and your heart becomes more sensitive to electrical signals. The balance that used to be easy now needs to be carefully managed. It's not about never eating bananas again. It's about being aware being consistent, and most of all, talking to your doctor. If you're on blood pressure medications, especially those that affect potassium, ask about safe fruit options. Maybe that banana needs to be replaced with a handful of berries or a slice of apple instead. Small changes over time can save your heart from something devastating. Too many seniors walk into my clinic tired, confused, and scared, asking why their heart medication isn't working. The heartbreaking answer far too often is that the very foods they believe are helping them are actually destroying their heart, slowly, silently, and without warning. If you're over 60, your diet must not just be healthy, it must be heart aware. And if one banana a day can throw your heart into chaos, what about that sweet little treat sitting in your pantry right now that looks like an innocent snack, but actually contains more sugar than a can of soda? Let's talk about raisins and how they're not as harmless as they seem. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Raisins. The healthy snack that could quietly raise your blood sugar and destroy your heart. It starts so innocently. You reach into the pantry and grab a small handful of raisins, maybe sprinkle them on your oatmeal or snack on them between meals. They're fruit, right? Natural, simple, no added sugar. What could be wrong with that? The answer, unfortunately, is a lot more than you think, especially if you're over 60 and living with heart issues, high blood pressure, or type 2 diabetes. Raisins are often marketed as a heart-smart snack, a better choice than candy or cookies. And while they may seem innocent, they are one of the most deceptively dangerous fruits for older adults with fragile cardiovascular systems. Here's why. When grapes are dried into raisins, the water disappears, but the sugar remains. In fact, it becomes more concentrated. A small box of raisins, the kind you might pack for your grandkids, contains over 25 grams of sugar with almost zero fiber to slow it down. That's equivalent to nearly 6 teaspoons of sugar in just a few tiny bites. Now imagine what that does inside your body, especially after age 60. As we grow older, our ability to process sugar declines. Insulin sensitivity weakens, blood sugar takes longer to stabilize, and our blood vessels become less elastic. For seniors with prediabetes, diabetes, or even borderline blood pressure issues, this sudden flood of sugar can spike blood glucose rapidly. That spike isn't just about numbers. It's fuel for inflammation, which silently damages the lining of your arteries and puts enormous stress on the heart. It gets worse. Many seniors snack on raisins thinking they're making a good choice, unaware of the effects on their heart rhythm, blood pressure, or insulin levels. This creates a dangerous feedback loop. More sugar, more inflammation, more arterial stiffness, higher risk of stroke, heart attack, or congestive heart failure. I'll never forget a patient of mine, Mrs. Eleanor, an 80-year-old woman who came in for what she thought was simple fatigue. She said, "I eat clean. I don't touch soda or desserts. I even walk daily. I don't understand why I feel so weak." She had been diagnosed with atrial fibrillation a year earlier and was on medication to control her heart rhythm. Her vitals looked stable until we checked her labs. Her fasting blood sugar was over 180. Her triglycerides had climbed steadily over the past 6 months. And when I reviewed her diet, one detail stood out. She snacked on raisins and dried cranberries every afternoon, thinking they were a healthy treat. The combination of dried fruit sugars and age-related insulin resistance had thrown her heart into a metabolic storm. By the time she felt the symptoms, the damage had already begun. Her heart was overworked, her vessels inflamed, and her medication was barely holding her rhythm steady. She wasn't just tired. Her heart was quietly losing the battle. That's how raisins can destroy your heart, Not in one day, but gradually, silently. They're sweet, compact, and often eaten without thought, but for an aging body, they can act like sugar bombs, damaging your heart from the inside out, one handful at a time. So what should you do? It's not about fearing fruit, it's about being smart with it. If you love the sweetness, choose whole grapes in small portions, fresh, with fiber intact. Even better, pair them with protein, like a few almonds or a small piece of cheese, to slow sugar absorption. And most importantly, don't assume that natural means harmless, especially when your heart is aging. As we age, we must think not just about calories or sugar content, but how a food behaves inside our body today, not how it used to when we were 30 or 40. Now, if a handful of raisins can silently spike your sugar and wear down your heart, what happens when you drink something that feels even more innocent? Something you've been told is healthy for decades yet delivers more sugar to your bloodstream in seconds than any fruit? Let's talk about orange juice and why it may be the most dangerous drink in your refrigerator right now. 3. Orange juice, the healthy morning ritual that could be slowly destroying your heart. For decades, orange juice has been the gold standard of a healthy breakfast. The bright color, the sweet citrus flavor, the promise of vitamin C, it feels like sunshine in a glass. Commercials told us it would boost our immune system, help us age well, and protect our hearts. But here's the truth. Most seniors are never told. Orange juice can quietly damage your heart, especially after 60. I know that might sound shocking. How can something that's just fruit be harmful? But as a cardiologist who's treated thousands of patients over the past 30 years, I've seen it again and again. Well-meaning seniors who drink a glass of orange juice every morning thinking they're doing something good, while their hearts slowly suffer in silence. Let's start with the facts. One 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains around 25 grams of sugar, most of it in the form of fructose, a type of sugar that hits your liver hard and your bloodstream even faster. Unlike eating an orange, where fiber slows the absorption, juice offers no such buffer. It's liquid sugar. And for an aging body, that's dangerous. After 60, your body doesn't process sugar the way it used to. Your insulin sensitivity decreases. Your blood vessels become stiffer. Your liver works harder to keep blood sugar stable. When you drink orange juice, especially first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, you're sending your heart a shock wave of sugar it can't handle. This sugar spike causes inflammation in your arteries, raises triglycerides, and puts metabolic stress on your heart. Over time, this leads to plaque buildup, high blood pressure, and a higher risk of stroke or heart failure. And because orange juice is liquid, the body absorbs it almost instantly, making it one of the fastest ways to raise blood sugar, faster even than some sodas. I had a patient, Mr. Franklin, a 76-year-old retired truck driver who came to my office complaining of extreme fatigue and shortness of breath. His medications for high blood pressure and cholesterol seemed to be doing their job, but something didn't add up. His blood sugar was elevated, his triglycerides were off the charts, his EKG showed early signs of left ventricular strain, his heart was working harder than it should have been. When we went over his diet, he was confident he was doing everything right. I eat oatmeal, skip the bacon, and drink orange juice every morning, only one glass, he told me proudly. That one glass was the key. Unbeknownst to him, his daily orange juice, combined with his slowing metabolism and aging arteries, was feeding chronic inflammation in his cardiovascular system. It didn't cause immediate pain or visible symptoms, which is why he didn't connect the dots. But over months, even years, that ritual was quietly destroying his heart, drop by drop, day by day. When I asked him to remove orange juice from his routine, and switch to water with lemon or unsweetened herbal tea, along with some protein in the morning, the change was remarkable. Within 3 months, his energy improved, his blood sugar stabilized, his heart function normalized. This isn't just about orange juice. This is about the myth that natural equals safe. For older adults, especially those managing heart disease, diabetes, or high cholesterol, even healthy drinks can be harmful if consumed without awareness. The body you have at 65 or 75 isn't the same one you had at 35. Your heart is more vulnerable, your metabolism is slower, and your margin for error is smaller. Orange juice, once a symbol of health, becomes a quiet saboteur of the very organ it's supposed to protect. So if your morning starts with orange juice, it might be time to rethink that tradition, not because you've done something wrong, but because now you know better. And once you know, you can choose differently. That's how heart health is rebuilt, one mindful decision at a time. Now, if a single glass of juice can cause that much strain on your heart, what happens when a fruit as seemingly innocent as watermelon starts wreaking havoc on your blood pressure and sugar levels? Let's talk about that next because the truth might surprise you even more. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Watermelon. The cool, refreshing fruit that may be quietly pushing your heart into danger. There's something deeply nostalgic about watermelon. For many of us, it's tied to warm summer days, backyard picnics, laughter with grandchildren, and the simple joy of biting into a cold, juicy slice. It feels clean, natural, and good. That's why so many seniors reach for it, especially in the heat, trusting it to hydrate, refresh, and nourish their aging bodies. But what if I told you that this beloved fruit, when eaten carelessly, could be quietly pushing your heart toward danger? As a cardiologist, I don't want to take joy away from anyone, especially not those golden moments of summer. But I do want to bring attention to something I've seen too often in my practice: seniors whose hearts are being taxed by what they believe is a harmless fruit. And watermelon, though hydrating, can pose serious problems for older adults, particularly those with diabetes, high blood pressure, or weakened kidney function. You see, watermelon has a very high glycemic index. That means it causes a rapid spike in blood sugar levels after consumption. One standard wedge of watermelon has about 18 to 20 grams of sugar, and since it contains minimal fiber, your body absorbs that sugar quickly, especially if you eat it on an empty stomach or in large portions. In younger people, the pancreas compensates by releasing insulin quickly. But as we age, our insulin response slows down. Our blood vessels become more fragile. Our kidneys filter less efficiently. So that rush of sugar from watermelon doesn't just go unnoticed, it sets off a storm inside your body. Blood sugar rises, insulin surges, and your blood vessels constrict. The result? Elevated blood pressure, oxidative stress, and inflammation throughout your cardiovascular system. And if you're already on medications for high blood pressure or diabetes, the impact can be even more dramatic. That sudden sugar spike can interact negatively with certain drugs, leading to dangerous fluctuations in your heart rhythm or blood pressure. It's not just about the sugar, it's about how your body responds at this stage of life. Let me share a patient story, one that stays with me. Her name was Mrs. Carla, a 68-year-old retired school teacher who had just started managing her blood pressure with medication. She was healthy in many ways, walked every morning, cooked at home, took her pills on time. But one July afternoon, she came to my office pale, dizzy, and anxious. Her blood pressure was erratic, her heart rate elevated, and she said, "Doctor, I just don't understand. I've been eating clean." When I asked her what she'd eaten for lunch, she smiled and said, "Just some watermelon." I didn't feel like a full meal, so I ate about a quarter of one. A quarter of a watermelon. That seemingly innocent choice had flooded her system with sugar, overloaded her kidneys, and caused her blood pressure to spike, despite being on medication. Her body, already trying to maintain balance, couldn't keep up. And that stress, that internal chaos, was quietly destroying her heart's ability to function properly. Thankfully, we intervened in time, but not everyone is so lucky. Many seniors go about their days feeling lightheaded, tired, or short of breath, blaming it on aging, not realizing that their heart is screaming for help. Watermelon, when consumed in large portions or without awareness, can tip the balance just enough to create a silent storm inside. The solution isn't to fear fruit, it's to respect it. Watermelon can be enjoyed, but only in moderation and never in large quantities, especially not on an empty stomach. Pairing it with protein or healthy fats can slow the sugar absorption. And always remember, just because something is natural doesn't mean it's harmless. We must stop viewing food through the lens of youth and start seeing it through the eyes of the body we have now. A body that's more sensitive, more delicate, and more deserving of care. And if a fruit as watery and innocent as watermelon can cause this much havoc, just imagine what might happen when you reach for a tropical delight like lychee, a fruit that seems tiny and sweet, but carries a sugar load and chemical profile that could be even more dangerous for your aging heart. Let's talk about lychee next and uncover why this little fruit has caused big trouble in my clinic. 5. Lychee, the tiny tropical fruit that can trigger a dangerous drop and quietly destroy your heart. It looks innocent, small, sweet, exotic. A bite-sized fruit with delicate pink skin and a sugary floral flavor that melts on the tongue. For many seniors, lychee feels like a special treat, something light, refreshing, and even healthy. But behind its charming appearance lies a hidden danger that, for older adults, can quietly trigger heart stress, blood sugar crashes, and even serious cardiac episodes. As a cardiologist, I've grown more cautious about foods that appear harmless at first glance. Lychee is one of them. Why? Because this fruit is metabolically deceptive, especially for people over 60. It causes your body to spike, then crash. And for an aging heart, that roller coaster is more than uncomfortable. It's dangerous. Lychee contains high levels of free sugars, including fructose and glucose, and, most concerning, naturally occurring compounds called hypoglycin A and methylene cyclopropylglycine, MCPG. These compounds, though found in small amounts, can interfere with the body's ability to regulate blood sugar, especially if consumed on an empty stomach or in large quantities. In young, healthy individuals, the body compensates. But in seniors, especially those with weakened insulin response, cardiac conditions, or on medications that influence glucose or metabolism, that compensation doesn't happen fast enough. The result? A sudden and severe drop in blood sugar. When this happens, the body goes into panic mode. The brain becomes foggy, the heartbeat accelerates, blood pressure may drop sharply or swing unpredictably. The heart, now under acute stress, begins to suffer. And if this cycle happens repeatedly, especially in those already vulnerable, it can gradually wear down cardiac function. I remember a patient named Mr. Halverson, 74 years old, living independently, with a history of atrial fibrillation and borderline type 2 diabetes. He prided himself on eating fresh foods, avoiding processed sugar, and choosing natural. One summer afternoon, he was rushed to the ER after collapsing at home. He had no prior warning signs, just a wave of dizziness, confusion, and then blackout. When he came to see me later for follow-up, we combed through his daily routine. The clue? A bowl of fresh lychees he had eaten before lunch. They were sweet, and I hadn't had anything else that day, he said casually. That was all it took. The sugar spiked him. The hypoglycin disrupted his glucose regulation. Then his sugar crashed hard. His heart, already vulnerable, had gone into an irregular rhythm under the pressure. He was lucky. Others are not. What makes lychee particularly dangerous for older adults is that the effects are delayed and quiet. There's no immediate pain, no signal that you've gone too far. You just feel off, tired, lightheaded, or anxious. But internally, your body is in chaos, and your heart is quietly taking the damage. One episode might be recoverable, but multiple, over weeks or months? That's how the heart begins to weaken and fail, and why so many seniors find themselves declining without understanding why. This is especially alarming in people who are trying to eat better, trying to avoid candy or desserts. Lychee feels like a safe alternative. But for those with heart conditions, even natural sugar can be a weapon, if not carefully managed. It's not about fear, it's about awareness. You can still enjoy a few lychees, but never on an empty stomach and never in large amounts. Always pair fruits like this with protein or fat to slow absorption, and always pay attention to how your body feels afterward. Because here's the hard truth. Just because something is small and sweet doesn't mean it's safe for your heart. In fact, the most dangerous foods for seniors are often the ones we don't suspect. Lychee is one of them. And if that tiny fruit could send your heart into crisis with no warning, imagine what could happen when you turn to something much larger, something tropical, creamy, and praised by wellness circles everywhere, the avocado. It's trendy, it's packed with good fats, but is it really good for your aging heart? Or could it be hiding risks you haven't even considered? Let's talk about that next. 6. Avocado, the heart-healthy superfood that may quietly be overloading your aging heart. It's hailed as a miracle fruit. Creamy, trendy, full of good fats, avocados have become a symbol of healthy living. From toast to smoothies to salads, it seems everyone is telling you to eat more of it. And it's true. Avocados can offer benefits. But here's what they're not telling you. For seniors over 60, especially those with heart conditions or kidney issues, too much avocado can quietly create a perfect storm inside your body, one that puts your heart under serious silent strain. Let me be clear. Avocados are not inherently bad. They're rich in monounsaturated fats, fiber, and important nutrients like potassium and magnesium. But what most older adults don't realize is that their aging bodies don't process nutrients the same way they used to. And in the case of avocados, potassium is the critical piece of the puzzle, one that can tip your heart into danger. A single avocado contains over 700 milligrams of potassium, more than a banana. And while potassium is essential for healthy muscle and nerve function, it can become toxic when your kidneys can't filter it properly, which happens more frequently as we age. In older adults, even a moderate accumulation of potassium, called hyperkalemia, can lead to irregular heart rhythms, muscle weakness, fatigue, and in severe cases, cardiac arrest. Now think about this. If you're taking medications that affect kidney function, such as ACE inhibitors, RBs, or potassium-sparing diuretics, you're already at increased risk for potassium buildup. Add a whole avocado to your daily diet, maybe even in a smoothie with other potassium-rich fruits, and you've just pushed your heart closer to a threshold it may not be able to handle. I remember one patient vividly, Mrs. Diana R., a 71-year-old retired nurse, lively and full of energy. She had been managing her blood pressure and mild heart failure with medication for several years. She followed a clean diet, exercised lightly, and believed she was making smart food choices. One day, she arrived at my clinic with complaints of chest tightness, fluttering in her chest, and unusual fatigue. Her blood pressure was lower than usual, her heartbeat irregular. Lab results revealed elevated potassium and subtle signs of declining kidney function. When I asked about her diet, she mentioned, "I eat avocado every day. I heard it's good for the heart. Sometimes I even eat a whole one for lunch." That healthy habit, combined with her medications and slowed kidney function, was silently destroying her heart's rhythm. The food she thought was healing her was, without any warning, pushing her into cardiac risk. We adjusted her diet, limited potassium intake, and within weeks, her symptoms began to fade. But her case was far from rare. I've seen dozens of seniors walk into my office wondering why they feel tired, weak, or off, never suspecting that the very foods they've trusted could be part of the problem. The takeaway here isn't that you must eliminate avocados. It's that after age 60, your body operates under a new rule book. Nutrient-rich foods must be balanced carefully, especially when medications and aging organs are in the mix. A slice of avocado on toast a few times a week might be fine for some, but for others, particularly those with kidney disease, heart failure, or those on certain blood pressure meds, it could tip the scale toward a silent health crisis. That's the heartbreaking truth. Even superfoods can hurt you if you don't know how they interact with your unique health picture. And because potassium doesn't make you feel sick right away, the damage builds slowly, silently, until the day your heart skips, stumbles, or stops. So, what can you do? Start by having a conversation with your doctor or a dietitian. Ask if potassium should be limited in your diet. Read labels, watch your portions, and remember, moderation matters more than hype. Health is personal, especially at this stage in life. Now, if a fruit so widely praised for heart health can have such a dark side for seniors, what about those convenient little cups of fruit sitting in syrup, the ones that seem easy, cheap, and perfect for snacking? Next, let's uncover the hidden risks inside canned fruits and why they might be quietly undoing all your efforts to live better after 60. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 7. 7. Canned fruits. The convenient comfort that could be slowly destroying your heart. They seem harmless, even comforting. Neatly packaged in bright cups or shiny tins, canned fruits have long been marketed as a practical, shelf-stable way to enjoy healthy sweetness all year round. For many seniors, especially those living alone or managing a tight budget, canned fruits feel like an easy win, a small indulgence that still fits within a healthy lifestyle. But behind their cheerful labels and syrupy smiles lies a harsh truth. Canned fruits can quietly and steadily contribute to the decline of your heart. As a cardiologist, I've spent decades treating older adults who do everything right on the surface. No fast food, plenty of fruits and vegetables, limited red meat. Yet, they still suffer from unexplained fatigue, elevated blood pressure, and rising cholesterol. When we dig deeper into their diets, one culprit pops up again and again: canned fruit packed in syrup. Let's take a closer look at what's really inside those cans. A single serving of canned peaches in heavy syrup can contain up to 30 grams of added sugar. That's more than what you'd find in a candy bar. And because it's already in a liquefied, processed form, your body absorbs that sugar fast. For an aging system, that's a serious problem. After 60, your insulin sensitivity declines, meaning your body struggles to regulate blood sugar effectively. Sudden spikes in sugar cause your pancreas to overwork, your arteries to inflame, and your triglycerides to surge, all of which are precursors to heart disease. And over time, repeated sugar spikes wear down the lining of your arteries, making them stiff and more prone to plaque buildup. This is how heart failure, atherosclerosis, and cardiac arrhythmias slowly take hold, often without any symptoms until it's too late. I recall a patient named Mr. Leonard, 78 years old, widowed, living modestly on Social Security. He told me proudly that he didn't eat junk food, didn't smoke, and made sure to eat fruit every day. What he didn't realize was that his go-to snack, a bowl of canned pears and syrup every evening, was quietly working against his heart. When he came to my clinic, he had been feeling more tired than usual, a bit short of breath. His labs revealed elevated triglycerides, borderline high blood sugar, and an irregular heartbeat that hadn't shown up at his last checkup. His diet seemed clean until we discussed the canned fruit. I showed him the nutrition label on the can, 26 grams of added sugar in one serving, and he had been eating 2. That seemingly small, comforting ritual, something he believed was healthy, was in fact destroying his heart's resilience. It didn't cause chest pain or collapse overnight. It crept in slowly, quietly, like so many dangers do when we're older and trusting. We immediately made changes. I advised him to switch to canned fruits packed in water or their own juice, but even then, to drain and rinse them. Better yet, we moved toward whole fresh or frozen fruits with no added sugar. Within a few months, his labs improved, his heart rhythm stabilized, and he regained some of the energy he had lost. Here's what I need every senior to understand. Not all fruit is created equal, and not all healthy choices are safe. As you age, your body changes the way it processes sugar, sodium, and preservatives. 3 things canned fruit often contains in excess. That's a dangerous trio for a heart that's already been beating loyally for over 6 decades. Even small amounts of hidden sugar or sodium consumed regularly can tip the balance from wellness to illness in a matter of months. And the worst part? You may not feel it happening. There's no siren, no warning, just gradual damage until one day, fatigue, shortness of breath, or a trip to the ER forces you to confront the truth. So before you open that next can, pause, read the label, drain the syrup. Ask yourself, is this helping my heart or quietly harming it? Because at this stage in life, every choice counts. And while it might seem like a small indulgence, your heart doesn't care if it came from a can or a candy bar. It responds to sugar all the same. And if canned fruits can silently stress your heart, imagine the impact of another natural habit, something that feels wholesome and healing, but might carry bacterial dangers most seniors are no longer equipped to fight off. Next, let's talk about raw sprouts and why that innocent crunch could carry a hidden enemy into your bloodstream. 8. Raw sprouts, the innocent crunch that could carry a deadly threat to your heart. They sit proudly atop sandwiches and salads. They look vibrant, fresh, full of life. For many older adults trying to eat clean, raw sprouts, like alfalfa, mung bean, clover, or radish sprouts, feel like a health-conscious choice. After all, they're green, light, and natural. What harm could possibly come from something so small? But here's a frightening truth. For seniors over 60, raw sprouts can be a ticking time bomb, one that can unleash infections capable of damaging your heart in ways you might never expect. You see, sprouts are grown in warm, humid conditions, the perfect environment not just for plant growth, but also for bacteria like E. coli, Salmonella, and Listeria. These are not rare or exotic pathogens. They are the same bacteria responsible for some of the most severe foodborne illness outbreaks in the United States. And raw sprouts, due to their structure and growing environment, are especially vulnerable to contamination. For younger people with strong immune systems, an exposure might lead to a few days of nausea or diarrhea. But for older adults whose immune systems are naturally weakened, these infections can become deadly. As we age, the body's ability to fight off invaders slows down. Recovery takes longer. Complications are more common. And in some cases, these bacteria can make their way into the bloodstream and attack the heart directly. Yes, you read that right. A tiny sprout can trigger an infection that inflames the lining of your heart, a condition called infective endocarditis, which can lead to valve damage, heart failure, and even death. Let me tell you about one patient who lived this nightmare. Mrs. Ellen S., a 75-year-old woman with controlled hypertension and no major cardiac history, came to my clinic complaining of low-grade fever, fatigue, and heart palpitations that had persisted for days. Initially, we thought it might be viral, but her blood work painted a far darker picture. Elevated white cells, markers of inflammation, and signs of bacterial infection in her bloodstream. We later traced the source back to a batch of raw alfalfa sprouts she had been adding to her lunch salads every day for a healthy crunch. A culture revealed Listeria monocytogenes, which had made its way into her bloodstream and ultimately affected her mitral valve. She spent nearly 2 weeks in the hospital on IV antibiotics. She survived, but just barely. And here's the heartbreaking part. She thought she was eating clean. She had replaced crackers with greens. She had cut sugar. She exercised daily. But that one decision, raw sprouts, nearly destroyed her heart. This story is not unique. According to the FDA, there have been dozens of foodborne illness outbreaks linked to raw sprouts in recent decades, and older adults are among the highest risk groups. The reason? Unlike cooked vegetables, raw sprouts aren't exposed to temperatures high enough to kill harmful bacteria. Washing them doesn't guarantee safety either. Once contaminated, sprouts can be nearly impossible to sterilize without cooking. So, what should you do? If you're over 60, avoid raw sprouts altogether. That may sound extreme, but the risk isn't worth the crunch. If you love the taste or the texture, lightly steaming or sauteing sprouts can kill harmful bacteria while still preserving flavor and nutrients. Or, better yet, substitute them with safer greens like baby spinach or arugula. Just be sure to wash them well, and if your immunity is compromised, opt for cooked over raw whenever possible. Your heart is strong, but not invincible. At this stage in life, it needs protection, not just from cholesterol or high blood pressure, but from the unseen enemies that can enter quietly and wreak havoc. Because it's not always the fried food or the salt shaker that causes harm. Sometimes it's the very foods that appear fresh and healthy, the ones we reach for with the best intentions, that can do the most damage when our defenses are down. And if a handful of sprouts can carry bacteria capable of inflaming your heart's inner walls, just imagine what might happen when you combine fruit with certain medications without ever realizing how that pairing can dangerously alter your blood chemistry. Up next, we'll explore one of the most misunderstood interactions in senior nutrition: how grapefruit, though natural and refreshing, can secretly interfere with life-saving heart medications. 9. Grapefruit, the heart-healthy fruit that can interfere with your medication and slowly destroy your heart. It looks like wellness in a bowl: bright, juicy, refreshing. For many seniors, grapefruit is the go-to fruit for breakfast, a symbol of clean eating, and a staple from their younger years. It's packed with vitamin C, low in calories, and praised for its cholesterol-lowering effects. But what most people don't realize, especially those over 60, is that grapefruit can quietly interfere with some of the most important medications you're taking and put your heart at serious risk. As a cardiologist, I wish this wasn't true, I wish I didn't have to sound the alarm on something that seems so healthy. But the science is clear. Grapefruit contains compounds called furanocoumarins, which interfere with enzymes in your liver, particularly one called CYP3A4. This enzyme is responsible for breaking down many medications in your body, including statins, calcium channel blockers, certain antiarrhythmic drugs, and even blood pressure medications. When you eat grapefruit or drink its juice, it can block this enzyme, causing your medications to stay in your bloodstream longer and at higher levels than intended. What does that mean for your heart? It means that a dose of medication your doctor intended to be safe and therapeutic suddenly becomes too strong, increasing your risk of side effects like low blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, muscle breakdown, dizziness, liver damage, and even internal bleeding. I had a patient not long ago, Mr. Raymond H., age 82, a retired accountant. He was on atorvastatin to manage his cholesterol and amlodipine for high blood pressure. Everything was going smoothly until he started adding half a grapefruit to his morning routine, just trying to be healthier, he said. A few weeks later, he came into my clinic with severe leg pain, fatigue, and confusion. Blood tests showed elevated creatine kinase levels, a sign his muscles were breaking down, a known side effect of too much statin in the blood. His blood pressure was also unusually low, to the point of being dangerous. The culprit? That innocent-looking grapefruit. It had silently interfered with how his body processed both medications, causing toxicity and stress that were quietly destroying his heart and muscles from the inside. He was heartbroken. I thought I was doing everything right, he told me. I haven't touched fried food in years. I walk every day. I just wanted to eat better. And that's the devastating part. Seniors like Mr. Raymond aren't making reckless choices. They're doing what they think is healthy. But your body changes after 60. What once helped you thrive might now work against you, especially when food interacts with powerful medications in unpredictable ways. Grapefruit isn't just another fruit. It's a pharmacological wildcard. The effects aren't the same for everyone, and they don't happen after just one serving. But if grapefruit is part of your regular diet, and you're on medications metabolized by CYP3A4, which includes many common heart drugs, you could be silently increasing your dosage beyond safe levels every single day without even realizing it. And the worst part? There are no symptoms until something goes wrong. One day it's a dizzy spell. The next, it could be heart palpitations, kidney stress, or even hospitalization. So what should you do? Talk to your doctor or pharmacist before including grapefruit in your diet, especially if you're on any statins, calcium channel blockers, or antiarrhythmic medications. If you're already eating it regularly, stop now and seek guidance. There are many safer alternatives, fruits that won't sabotage your prescriptions or quietly overwork your heart. Because no matter how natural it seems, grapefruit can become a silent saboteur for your aging cardiovascular system. And when combined with medication, its effect can be slow, dangerous, and devastating. I've seen too many good people with good intentions suffer avoidable heart complications simply because they didn't know this one critical fact. And now that you do know, the next question is, what fruits can you safely enjoy after 60? Which fruits actually support your heart, nourish your body, and work with your medications, not against them? Let's explore that next in So What Should Seniors Eat to Truly Protect the Heart? You might be surprised by how delicious heart-safe eating can be. 10. So what should seniors eat to truly protect the heart? After everything we've uncovered, the fruits that spike your sugar, the ones that sabotage your medications, and those that silently erode your cardiovascular health, it's only natural to ask, what's left? What can I eat that won't hurt me? And more importantly, What will actually help my heart stay strong in this chapter of life? The truth is, protecting your heart after 60 isn't about extremes. It's not about cutting out everything you love or surviving on tasteless meals. It's about understanding your aging body, making consistent, informed choices, and building meals that work with your medications, not against them. When chosen wisely, the right fruits can lower inflammation, reduce blood pressure, protect artery walls, and stabilize blood sugar, all without overworking your kidneys or heart. The best fruits for seniors are ones that are low in sugar, high in fiber, rich in antioxidants, and kind to your digestive and cardiovascular systems. They don't flood your bloodstream with glucose, and they won't interfere with your prescriptions. Start with berries: blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries. These are nutritional powerhouses filled with flavonoids that protect the blood vessels, reduce plaque buildup, and help prevent strokes and heart attacks. They're also low on the glycemic index, meaning they won't cause sugar spikes. A half cup of blueberries in the morning with a small serving of oats can support blood pressure and cognitive function at the same time. Next, consider apples. Yes, the humble apple. With their natural fiber, especially in the skin, and quercetin, apples have been shown to help lower bad cholesterol and reduce inflammation in the arteries. Just be sure to eat them whole, not juiced. The fiber is key to slowing digestion and supporting healthy blood sugar levels. I often recommend apples as a mid-morning or afternoon snack, paired with a slice of cheese or a small handful of walnuts for balanced energy and stable glucose. Pears are another safe, heart-friendly choice. Juicy, satisfying, and gentle on digestion. They contain soluble fiber, which supports gut health and helps manage cholesterol. Like apples, they're best eaten whole, not canned or syrup-packed. Kiwi deserves special mention too. It's small but potent. Rich in vitamin C, potassium, and antioxidants, kiwi has been associated with reduced blood clotting and improved blood flow, two vital components of heart health. It's a good choice for seniors looking to replace overly sweet tropical fruits without sacrificing flavor. For those craving a richer texture, cooked fruits like stewed apples or pears with cinnamon can be deeply satisfying, comforting, and safe for the heart. Heating fruit gently allows for better digestion and minimizes any microbial risks, which is especially important for those with weakened immune systems. But here's something most people forget. How you pair fruit matters just as much as which fruit you eat. Eating fruit alone, especially in the morning or between meals, can lead to blood sugar spikes. But combining it with protein or healthy fat slows digestion, supports energy, and protects your heart from the sudden stress of glucose overload. For example, try pairing berries with unsweetened Greek yogurt or apple slices with almond butter. These simple combinations offer balance, satisfaction, and metabolic support without overwhelming your cardiovascular system. Now, let me be painfully clear about one thing. Even healthy fruits can hurt you if eaten without awareness. Too much fruit, too quickly, too often, especially when your medications or organs are already working hard, can still lead to complications. I've seen it in too many patients. Well-meaning choices done without knowledge, gradually causing harm. It's not just fried food or red meat that can destroy your heart. It's the everyday habits you think are harmless. That's why I always urge my patients to slow down. Listen to your body. Understand your medications. And most of all, eat for the heart you have now, not the body you had at 30. This is a time in life to nourish, not overload, to support your strength, not test it. Your heart has been beating for you every second of your life, over 2 billion times. It has worked through joy, stress, loss, and love without asking for anything in return. But now In your 60s, 70s, or 80s, it's asking for something simple: attention, not fear, not perfection, just care, real daily care. And the beauty is, it's not too late. Even if you've made mistakes, even if you've eaten the wrong things, your heart can heal. I've seen patients reverse high blood pressure, stabilize arrhythmias, and gain back years of life, not through medication alone, but through food choices made with wisdom, consistency, and love. So as you open your fridge tomorrow, I want you to pause. Look at that piece of fruit in your hand and ask, is this serving my heart or slowly wearing it down? If the answer is the former, enjoy it with joy and gratitude. If it's the latter, set it aside because your next heartbeat matters and the one after that. This isn't about eating less, it's about eating right. Eating like your life depends on it, because after 60, it does. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.